is Dolphins X Factor time. Who are some of the guys on this Dolphins team that could be an X Factor and really change the complexion of this season? Miami Dolphins on Sports Illustrated, Dante Collinelli recently wrote an article on who these X Factor players are on the offense. He has got center Aaron Brewer. Aaron Brewer, of course, he's been off and on this preseason with some injuries. Feels as though the narrative around the Dolphins offense is that it cannot run the ball between the tackles. The team brought in guards James Daniels, who I think is an X factor on this team if he can stay healthy coming off that Achilles injury, and Jonas Anaya to help Brewer as be a part of that. Brewer had his best year of his career last year. Solid in pass protection, but number one should be trying to help that run. Vlad, that's one of the things this team can talk and talk and talk. And you and I have talked about this, about how they're more physical. They're going to grind it out. It means nothing if they don't try to run between the tackles.
They can't run the ball. They're not going to win. That's pretty much it. That's just not even them. That's just every team in the league. You can't run between the tackles. You can't run the ball, run the clock. You're not going to win.
Let's think about the most successful teams in the NFL. We've kind of done this before. Who are some of the most successful teams over the past couple of years, especially last year? You say Buffalo Bills, James Cook, and of course, you got the quarterback.
Josh Allen. Okay.
Baltimore Ravens.
Lamar and Derek. They ran for combined 3,000 yards last season. Jalen Hurts and Saquon ran for almost a combined 2,800 yards by themselves. Yeah.
Like you have a City, they've got good running game. They've had Isaiah Pacheco for a long time running the ball very steadily.
And Pat, I mean, if you really think about it, as great as his arm is, a lot of Patrick's big plays have been with his feet.
Absolutely, with his feet and with his legs. So you got to have a running game. If you want to be successful in this league, you got to have a running game. And it's not just and even Saquon Barkley couldn't do it alone. Even Derrick Henry couldn't do it alone. They had to have other guys. So you're going to need multiple guys, but you're going to have to be tough. You're going to have to run it inside. Yeah, Aaron Brewer, we really do need him. He's the X factor. Once again, Omar Kelly has told us multiple times, of course, Omar Kelly writing for the Miami Herald has said it. Patrick Paul goes down this season, you can go ahead and chalk it up to a lost season. Patrick Paul, maybe not so much an X factor because we know how valuable he is to this team, but Aaron Brewer, one of those guys that was seen as one of the X factors, another X factor when it comes to defense. And we've heard this guy, his name's been said. We've actually seen him play very well. Guy that came over from Kansas City and New Orleans, Willie Gay Jr. at linebacker, and Tyrell Dodson. Goes on to say the pass rushing group is anchored by four quality rushers in Jalen Phillips, Chop Robinson, Bradley Chubb, Matthew Judon. The interior defensive line has a star in Zach Sealer, and I'm hoping in Kenneth Grant. And, of course, Jordan Phillips. But at linebacker, Jordan Brooks, he's been impressive this year. The only real hiccup is the linebacker spot next to him, which could be Tyrell Dodson and Willie Gay Jr. Willie Gay Jr., everyone says he had a great camp, Vlad. And we've seen him in preseason make plays from the get-go. The second the ball gets snapped, he's out there. This is a guy, Vlad, got two, as you say, two of them things.
Two of them things. He got 2 rings, so he has experience. He knows what a winner is.
He knows how to win.
He knows what a winning culture, championship culture is, and he's probably trying to invoke that. That's one thing you did say. You heard a lot through camp. It was that he was the one that was the energy. He was the spark plug for the team, day in, day out. He never took a day off where he wasn't the spark.
I like what I've seen. I like what I've heard.
So I'm not worried about the defense.
The front 7 linebackers, not worried about them at all.
No, but the 2 big areas that you're worried about this team, and rightfully so, O-line, secondary.
Can I pile on a little bit? One thing you might sort of lose a little sleep at night, special teams. Remember, they had to get a new kicker, Riley Patterson. They've signed him to the practice squad because Jason Sanders got hurt.
Yeah.
He is another X factor, and they're finding a true X factor for special teams is quite challenging. Miami's special teams in general can be an X factor for the team, but Riley Patterson gets the nod for the purposes of this piece. Jason Sanders placed on the injured reserve with a hip injury, means he's going to miss at least 4 games. And we know that he's very important to this team, especially when it comes to kicking 40-yard field goals. We're going to have to basically patchwork some practice kickers in there. Now, can they just go in there? And sometimes they do, Vlad. They go in there and it's natural to them. But then again, once again, you're bargain basementing your kicking game right now for the most part in hopes that Jason Sanders comes back. Could be interesting. Could be very interesting.
Well, let's just hope that your field goal kicker is not doesn't have to be an important factor in these next 4 or 5 games.
But you figure they're going to need those kickers. Man, remember how important Jason Sanders has been over the past 2 or 3 years. For this team.
I also remember how much he was hated 3 or 4 years ago as well.
Well, he used to miss a lot of extra points,
and they were just missing field goals as well, like certain field goals. Then all of a sudden now he's a 50-yard field. He can't miss from 50. Before he couldn't hit, now he can't miss. I get it, but if you have an offense that I think you do, you tell us that you have with all these weapons, I should think that you should put points up.
Yep.
And if you need, whoever the field goal kicker is, Riley Patterson, if he needs to make some field goals, get him as close or get him to the range that he needs to do for him to kick. It's only 3 points. I mean, it's 3 points. Sanders is great, top 10, but a top 10 kicker is not important to me than than any other position player on the team.
Look, the Dolphins have made it pretty evident in this preseason what their game plan is going to be. They like long drives on offense where they control the ball on the ground, control the clock, keep the ball out of the other team's hand. And then when the other team does have the ball, they need their front seven to get after that quarterback so the secondary doesn't have to defend for that long. So it's kind of a patchwork piece right there, which actually, Vlad, that's not a bad plan if you can execute it. Have a lot of ball control, run the ball, control the clock, control the flow of the game, and then hope your front seven get to the starting quarterback.
Running the ball, and this is
something you did that last year.
But this is something that's bothered you, and I got to give you credit for that because you've been saying this for the last 2-3 years now. You've been upset with the game planning of Mike McDaniel with the running game because in the beginning it starts off like he really wants to run the ball. Then towards the end of the season, when you need to run the ball, he doesn't run the ball. I agree with you with that. But then I'm thinking to myself, all right, you do know that if you run the ball in this heat in December and January, you're going to drain all the energy out of your opponents.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way they do it, the way northern teams that play in the cold, what they do it often, they run the ball because nobody wants to be in the cold getting their ass beat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Same way, nobody wants to be in the heat getting their ass beat.
Nope.
It's draining. It's all about man on man combat, baby. Man versus man. And can you take the will out of that other person, that other man? And what's happened over the last 2-3 years is that other teams have taken the will out of the Dolphins instead of the Dolphins taking the will and soul out of the other players and other teams.
It's no secret what the Philadelphia Eagles do. Let's line them up, like you said, man on man. We're going to run the ball. We're going to control the clock. We're going to control the flow of the game. And then we're going to get after you with our front seven. Seemed to work pretty good for them. Now, different teams have different philosophies. I know the Kansas City Chiefs, they got more of, let Patrick Mahomes be Patrick Mahomes. But then again, there's only one of one when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. But seems like it's a pretty good philosophy. Your secondary is what it is. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this secondary is going to surprise people how great they are. At the end of the season, you're going to look back and say, wow, this is the greatest secondary the Dolphins had since, Sam Madison and those guys. No, probably not going to get that. But you play to your strengths, which is you got an offensive-minded guru at coach in Mike McDaniel, whether you want to believe it or not, or at least you think you do. And Anthony Weaver knows the scheme.